Welcome back, everybody, to Let's Talk About Sleep. This is part 2 of September's question and answer. Last video, we talked about idiopathic hypersomnia. We talked about trazodone. We're going to start this one off talking about trazodone in response to my video that I did about that a couple of years back. Karen writes, stay away from this SHIT. I was given trazodone and gabapentin after a bad surgery, similar to Phil, and it was hell. It made me feel no pain, no feelings, caused more injuries. Never will take another medication that messes with my mind feelings. Yeah, Karen, unfortunately that can happen. It can happen. You know, it's not, these situations, and what I tell patients is this: whatever sleep medication we're going to try, let's try it. Let's see how it goes. If it reacts badly, obviously we stop and then we consider something else or something else, or a different modality. But unfortunately, the only way to know is by trying. Okay, thank you for those comments. From my question and answer for last month, that was September, so this will be October. Sorry, for last month, part 3, somebody said, "Can you make?" I like Turtles wrote. Can you make a video on UARS, please, including diagnosis and treatment? I've got it, and APAP made me feel worse. Keep up the good content. Well, thank you, Turtles. UARS, that's Upper Airway Resistance Syndrome. It is kind of like the naughty cousin to sleep apnea. So sleep apnea is where the airway goes from this normally wide open to this closed down. Okay, that's what sleep apnea is. UARS, Upper Airway Resistance Syndrome, is basically kind of like this. The airway is tight. It's not completely closed down, but it's tight. And that leads to a host of other problems that sleep apnea doesn't really do. So things like fatigue and hypersensitivity and anxiety. I mean, these are all things that UARS is known for. I definitely will, Turtle, make a video about that. Thank you for the recommendation. I will definitely do so. APAP, or auto-adjusting positive airway pressure. It's kind of a form of CPAP. It usually does work in these cases, but again, not for everybody. You may do better with CPAP or an oral device. I will definitely make a full video on that, but thank you for the recommendation. Yeah, UARS, it's not as well known, not nearly as well known as sleep apnea, but it can be hell. So, all right. Curious Wanderer wrote on my fatal familial insomnia video from a couple years back. Amazing to see a scientific perspective on this. Thank you. You're welcome. You know, it's been a few years since I had videos on fatal familial insomnia. Maybe I'll do another one. I'll do an out on UARS. So thank you guys for those recommendations. Tony writes, what do you recommend for extending sleep duration? Thank you. So, Tony, what happens when somebody is having sleep that's not as long as they want it to be? The question is always why, right? So, could it be sleep apnea that's causing you to wake up in the middle of the night? Could it be depression causing you to wake up in the middle of the night? Could it be, kicking of your legs that's causing you to wake up in the middle of the night? These are things that have to be explored before, just a simple answer. Assuming that those things are not there, usually what I recommend to start off with, if somebody hasn't tried anything yet, is time-release melatonin, okay? And the melatonin is safe, it's natural, our brain naturally makes it, but they sell it in time-release form. That's, you take it, let's say, half an hour before bedtime or even right at bedtime, and it gets released over the course of a night. That can help somebody to stay asleep or get back to sleep if they've woken up, okay? So what I would say to you is the brand that I like the most is called REM Fresh, REM Fresh. They definitely sell it on Amazon. Some pharmacies have it too. It comes in 2 and 5 milligram pills. I usually start there. Okay? Good question. Mina, from my Sexomnia video, writes, I just discovered that my significant other has this. I keep telling about how he behaves at night and how I enjoyed it, but he never seems to remember. Made some research, and here it is, Sexomnia. It's a bummer that he doesn't get to enjoy it, though.
I wanted to see this as an additional bonding material. Turns out I'm having extramarital action with a zombie. I guess in essence, yeah, you can say that. Thank you, Minnie. Yeah, this, the problem is, and one of the things I mentioned in my video is, it doesn't get a lot of attention because people are embarrassed to either talk about it or discuss with their doctor or talk about it even with their bed partner. So, by getting the message out there, hopefully more people will come forward and see that it's not their fault, and it's more common probably than we even realize. Okay, but again, as I said in that video, the question is always why. So if it happens quite a bit, you may want to consider getting a sleep evaluation. Okay? Thank you for your comments. And then lastly, Lori writes on my nerve stimulation for sleep apnea, which was last week. Lori writes, I'm a sleep tech and have yet to run a PSG on a patient that has the implant. Does this treatment cause a moderate high AHI to drop around normal? Okay, so what she's talking about, AHI, that's apnea-hypopnea index. That's our measure of how severe somebody's sleep apnea is. So mild to moderate case would be anywhere between 5 to, let's say, anywhere from 5 to about 29, 30 would be considered mild to moderate. More than 30 would be severe. So in somebody who has a mild to moderate case of sleep apnea, yes, you can do the implant. You can, the Inspire implant or the one of those devices we talked about where it goes under the skin. Typically, though, in my case, I usually reserve them for more severe cases. But the answer is yes. Assuming that the patient is the correct patient, meaning that, if you remember from my video, I said that they want to see an anterior-posterior closure, which means that the airway is closing from like the front to the back as opposed to concentric, where it's a circle. Assuming that you have the right patient and everything has been kind of checked out, yeah, no matter what level it is, it should reduce the AHI basically down to nothing for the most part, not always, but with severe cases, in the medical literature, you want to see a reduction by half, which is good. To mild to moderate cases, you'd like to see it go down to basically normal. So yes, it does work, not for everybody, and it does come with surgical risks. But the way I use it in my own practice is, I'll say if somebody has a severe case and they can't use CPAP or whatever, then I would go for it. But yeah, they definitely do work. And from a sleep tech's perspective, part of the job is to actually help calibrate these devices. And when it comes time for your lab to do it, you'll see the people from Inspire or whoever will usually send their people to help you as we adjust the settings of the device. Okay, increase the voltage. All right. Good question. So that's it for this month's October question and answer. So thank you for everybody who interacted with me. Please keep the questions and comments coming. I love it. Every month I will do a video like this. And please subscribe to the channel. Please share with your friends and family. And my book, the link to it is in the description box down below. Until next time, sleep well.